I'm going to be talking to you today about the New Balance Fuel Cell TC. This is one of these superb new carbon plated shoes, and there's a couple of things to be aware of with this shoe. It's much like your race wheels on your bicycle. They're there to make you go faster. You don't use them all the time. This shoe is designed to make you go faster, and trust me, it will make you go faster. It's a very, very fast shoe, but it's not the sort of shoe that you're going to wear all the time. So listen in, check out what I got to say about it. I think you're going to like this shoe. How's it going? Carbon inserts in the midsoles of running shoes is something that's been pretty prominent in the last year or so, and pretty much every major brand has come out with its offering in that area. And I'm here today just testing out the New Balance Fuel Cell TC, which is New Balance's carbon inserted shoe. So this is literally my first run. I've only just put them on. I've run down to the park. I'm going to give them a go. I've only just jogged down here, so first impressions were it's incredibly unique and incredibly different to what I've run in before. And you know, I've run along a lot of time in just conventional footwear, so for this shoe is a real change from what I'm used to. I've always liked a harder soled shoe. I always like feeling the ground, but suddenly putting this shoe on, it's super soft and it's totally different. But there are some real key benefits I can feel to the shoe. So I'm going to do a bit of a run. I'm going to up the tempo a little bit, try it at various paces, and we're going to check back, and I'm going to give you some feedback on how it's going. All right, so I'm just back from my first run in the New Balance Fuel Cell TC, and I've had a great run. I had a good chance to sort of have a think about how this shoe works, where it's come from, who's the sort of runner that could wear it, and in what situations. So we'll take you back a bit. I feel like I've seen this shoe evolve over the years. I've been involved with New Balance since 2007 when I was a sports podiatrist, and some of the designs of the shoes back then I saw carry through the generations, and we're seeing brought through to where we are now with the TC. So it kind of started back with a model called it was a midfoot strike shoe. It was called the 800. And it was a really, really unique shoe, and it was a bit of a game changer when it came out, and it was kind of ahead of its time. And the features we found in that shoe was a stiffer lateral border, and those people who wore it will remember that there was a piece through the lateral side of the shoe which provided a great deal of support and stability to the foot at landing, and midfoot strikers in particular. And you can see this has been carried through with this new model here. It was also a feature they had in this great shoe, the Fuel Cell Rebel, which is a shoe I absolutely love as well, where you had this lateral border, stiffer lateral border. And that was something that, back when that came out, myself and other sports podiatrists were sort of saying, this is where we need to go with footwear. So it's great to see this has sort of been carried through. The other thing that I found fantastic with New Balance shoes, back in those days, is they're very, very good at doing a full contact outsole. So when I say that, I mean the whole shoe itself is in contact with the ground. You don't get this segmentation, which I feel causes instability. You get feedback from the ground in every part of your foot, which I think is really important. So you can see through the Fresh Foam Beacon, they've gone full contact. Through the Fuel Core Sonic, the 890 full contact shoes, and it's a fantastic feature that you find in these shoes, and they've carried it through to the TC. So as you can see, full contact, great deal of feedback from the ground. The other thing that I sort of came about to decide is that New Balance do a really, really good job of creating a shoe with a rocker bottom shape to it. So when we look at the shoe flat on the surface, it's got this nice toe spring, this nice curvature to the forefoot, and that just allows the foot just to shift forward really, really easily. And I've loved that with New Balance shoes from when this feature started coming through. 890 has been a great shoe to run in with that feature. And what we find with the TC is that where you hit the ground is very, very important in relation to where this rocker occurs. So if you hit the ground too far forward, you're not actually engaging that rocker. And so forefoot runners might actually find this shoe to not to be the greatest shoe for them. Midfoot strikers will absolutely love it. Rear foot strikers have to be a little bit careful because it is so soft in the rear foot. If you do crash in on that heel, you could get some problems around stability, but midfoot strikers absolutely made for the shoe. The other thing I found, it's not super light. It's not their race model. It's not the lightest shoe they do. You know, this is a race shoe. This is the 1400. This is a very, very light shoe. This is a little bit heavier, but like I said earlier, this is a training shoe. The race model will be a lot lighter. However, I would still consider racing in this shoe because of the feel you get from it, because of the rebound. And when we talk about the midsole, the thing that came to me when I was running is it's not so much the cushioning that I'm finding, and it's not the energy return that we're getting, but it's the dampening of the vibration as you hit the ground. And it's the vibration that causes a lot of injuries, a lot of stress injuries and a lot of muscular injuries. So having a shoe that dampens that vibration and dampens that noise through the leg is really, really important, and that's exactly what the shoe's doing. So when I was running at that faster tempo, it just felt super smooth and really, really comfortable, really, really nice. So who would wear this sort of shoe? You've got to be really careful. It's not an all-day training shoe. Just keep that in mind. If I see any foot traffic athletes out running their slow, easy runs in the shoe, we're going to be having words. It's not the shoe to put on and go and run 2.5 hours at a comfortable pace at. This is the shoe that you wear for your harder tempo efforts, your race simulations, race day. You know, be very, very careful wearing the shoe, because one thing I did find, I started getting a little bit of forefoot discomfort, a little bit of numbness in my toes, and that really came about from the stiffness of the shoe. It is so stiff that it doesn't allow the foot to move naturally, and so that's sort of a red flag for me. If I wore this shoe too much, what is that increased stress doing to the forefoot? Am I opening myself up to an injury there? So I would look at that and go, well, this shoe is great for this sort of session, but I'm not going to wear it for a long, easy run. I might wear it for a long, long race because my foot's doing a different thing in a race than it is to a training. But be very, very careful with your decisions around wearing the shoe. And the other thing is, and that sort of brings me to which races would you wear it in? So, you know, it's a little bit like looking at using a disc wheel in a triathlon. Not everyone should use a disc wheel, but the people who do use them get the advantage out of them. So not everyone should be racing in this shoe for an Ironman, for example. But if you're Sebastian Kienle and you're running well under 4-minute kilometers, this is the shoe to be wearing. If you're a person who's running 6-minute Ks in an Ironman run, this is probably not the shoe for you. It's going to be that's the decision you've got to make, but it might be the shoe for you to wear for a sprint triathlon or an Olympic distance race. So not saying don't wear it, but I'm saying be very, very mindful of what you do with it. The other thing to keep in mind is the durability of it. So reading online, a lot of the companies is sort of saying that they should get around 300 miles out of a pair of these shoes, which is really, really quite high. So but I tend not to rely on mileage for my shoes. I look at the wear on the outsole, wear on the midsole, how it feels, to make that decision as to when to replace them. So I'm not going to say the shoe's going to last you this amount of time, but good runners generally know when their shoes are worn out. So just that'll be interesting to see as I wear this shoe how long it actually lasts for. I suspect it'll last for a pretty long time. I mean, the Rebel, which is very similar, this shoe has just done hundreds of kilometers for me, no problem, and it's still got a lot to go in it. So I'm looking forward to running some miles in this shoe. So hopefully it's going to help you make some decisions around this style shoe. But if you do have any questions, please reach out to me and ask away. I'm fairly passionate about this subject, and I feel I got a fair bit of knowledge in it. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. But it's a great shoe, and I think you'll enjoy running in it. So good luck.